Hello all, I'm Siege, and I'd like to welcome you to the 6th week of Destiny Solo Nightfall League. First of all, let me thank you for joining me for this week's installment. Anthony and Bob are on holiday, so instead, I want to show you how I view each week's Nightfall, and show you how to solo a nice, relaxing Nightfall strike. This week's being the Dust Palace strike. If you want to bring up your character and follow along, well, that's perfectly fine as well. And if you've never soloed a Nightfall, but have a character close to 400, this one you can do. I recommend a Void Walker Warlock, but really, whatever character makes you feel happy will be wonderful. Just make sure to equip their Void subclass. It's going to make this week's Nightfall really pop for you, okay? If this is your first time with us, allow me to extend a personal invitation to subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you join me for every show because you're very special to me and to those you love. Now typically, the rules I like to follow are basically getting through it and only being allowed 3 deaths for respawn section. But if you want to run for the 30-minute timer, or if you just want to just try to beat it by itself, well, that's going to be wonderful too. Again, as long as you feel happy. Remember, in Destiny you have almost unlimited power. You can come back from the dead. You can create golden red fire hammers to incinerate your enemies. You can go invisible. It's your world, so you can have anything. Anything. Let me show you what I have and the modifiers for this week. First, the modifiers will be Epic, which is more shields and aggressive enemies. Void Burn. Void damage is increased. We like that a whole lot. Ironclad. More enemies with shields. Cabal usually have shields, so no big surprise there. Catapult. Increased grenade recharge rate. Grenades for days, as they say. And finally, Berserk. Enemies won't flinch after damage, so we're going to have to take some care and massage them to death. Slow and steady wins the race. As I mentioned, I feel really good about the Void Walker. But try to imagine you're an accomplished Nightfall soloist. How would you want to look out there? Go with that one. Just make sure it's Void, okay? Now, I would suggest special and heavy weapons with Void elemental damage as well. Just try to blend as much bright lavender, grape, and amethyst into your loadout palette as possible. It's going to give you a lot of power to really just beat the devil out of most of the enemies you encounter, okay? Now, this is what I'm going to be bringing to the party this week. Have a look. First, as I mentioned, my Void Walker Warlock. Within the subclass, I'm going to go with the Axion Bolts because they're my absolute favorite and they really make me feel happy when I throw them. Also, Lifesteal gives me health back, which, I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, especially for a Nightfall strike now, right? I want to increase the size of the Nova Bomb and the grenades that I'm going to be throwing, you know, to get a little bit of added punch there. Finally, basically I want everything I want to kill. I also want my health back. That's going to be the best for this week, I think. But go with whatever you like. It's your world, remember? And I'll be taking in that hung jury that we like to use so much. Also, the Ash Raven's Flight. Notice the Void elemental damage. The Dark Drinker. Now this is the absolute best weapon for this strike. However, if you don't have a Dark Drinker, the Dreadfang Sword will work not quite as well, but very good for sticky situations for enemies that actually don't have a shield. If they do, though, you're going to want to move to something else, and probably move out of the way. And finally, we're going to go back with the Void Fang Vestments, because we do enjoy the Axion Bolt Grenades, and getting one more, it's never a bad thing. Let's head into the first part of the strike, and start to frame this week's Nightfall for the casual soloist. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is basically look for 2 sets of ads. They're going to come from the left-hand side. They're going to come from the right-hand side as well. You can see this door here on the left. It's not going to be a problem. If you're waiting for them and ready to go, they should be very nice and easy. Now this is where the Axion Bolt is going to come in. Oh, so nice for you. Because you don't have to worry about aiming it per se. It's just going to seek out the people that you need it to. Case in point. And that's why I think this is probably the best subclass for soloing. So, you can take anything from that. If you learn, you gain. As you can see, we've pretty much taken care. If you stay in this particular area right here, you should actually be in just fine shape. No problems. You don't have to worry about panic firing. There's plenty of cover. All you need to do is basically sit back here, try to use cover. Cover is going to be your friend here. Okay? There's nothing wrong with making a friend. Throughout this entire strike, in fact. You want to try to become as good of friends with cover as you can. It's only going to benefit you. Okay, but you can see, just kind of keep hammering him. There's nothing wrong with shooting a guy, especially after you have thrown the grenade, because the grenade could use a little friend. See, everybody could use a friend. So you push to the next section here. It's not a big deal. What you're going to want to do is sit back for half a second. Just try to take out this Centurion. Don't go in there too quick. There's no sense in rushing in. We've got plenty of time. You can see if we've done this correctly. If we've got in, we're going to be just fine. Just use cover. Try to take him out because he's going to be probably the biggest problem in trying to just get up to the steps. Again, you're going to see the effectiveness of the Axion grenades. You can just kind of throw it and not worry about aiming them. That's why, again, that's why I recommend them. Of course, it's however you'd like to play because maybe you're not comfortable with those, and that's fine. Now, once you get those first couple ads taken care of right off the bat, it's no big deal. What we're going to want to do is just ascend to the top of the steps. You can hear right now, right in front of me, that basically everything is gone. On the lower section, they're all waiting for me upstairs, which is exactly where I want them to be. Okay. Now, the next thing I need to do is just throw a couple grenades up. If I can separate them and basically keep moving, that's going to be one of the main things you're going to want to do for this strike. Is just keep moving. There's nothing wrong with a headshot here and there. When you are shooting for all these Cabal, make sure you're shooting for that top left section where they have their arm exposed, where they're shooting their gun. It's going to be the most effective, although you could shoot them in the foot. Now, here's what I want to tell you. Very important. It's going to take a lot longer for them to actually come down that way if you're shooting them in the foot. So, if that's what you want to do, it's totally okay. But I just want to make sure that you're okay with the consequences, or at least how much longer it's going to take you to take things down. If you are necessarily trying for the sunrise bounty, that's just more time you're going to have to take. But again, you can see, as long as we keep a nice distance from everything, we know where everything's coming out at. It's going to basically come first, as we saw before. After you ascend up the steps, it's going to be the top level. Then you're going to see some things spawn from the bottom level. It's not a problem. The best thing to do is just try to take out each layer. Take the top floor first, and then go down and just very nicely, very gently take down that bottom floor. You can kind of see where the enemies are always going to be spawning at. This is where the sword's going to come into play. It's definitely going to work out very nice for you. You don't have to worry about things putting up too much of a fight as long as they don't have a shield. Now remember that if they do have a shield, you're going to want to lay off the sword. Again, the good thing about this room, as soon as you walk in, they're already fighting each other. You can use that to your advantage. The main thing we want to try to do throughout this entire strike is just keep our distance. That's why I do recommend a ranged weapon, something of that nature. And can you see that? Essentially at this point, you could sit down here with the Axion grenades and just keep throwing them because they regenerate so fast given the catapult. The additional damage that they do is just making them probably the very, very best thing to use. It's just going to make everything a lot less stressful. You can see I'm using lots of void. Even then they have the solar shields. It's just basically melting right through them. This is a good strike, guys. This is one of those ones that you can do without question. And one you should definitely try without question. Okay, Part 3. Now this is essentially where you're going to want to watch yourself. There's a lot of Cabal that are going to come out of the top room up there. It's not going to be too much of a problem as long as you can make sure to just keep your distance. You might get the urge, like I did right there, to try to go in and take them all out at one time. Sure, the Nova Bomb was great. I liked it too. However, you're going to have to try to show as much restraint as possible when it comes to the soloing aspect. Now, even here you can see I might be getting myself into trouble, but hopefully that's not the case. We were able to take out the Colossus. Grab as much special as you can, especially if... Now guys, that's totally okay. After all, you're going to make an omelet. Sometimes you have to break some eggs. It's not a big deal. Good thing is we got to start right from this spot. So again, we're going to just keep an eye out for the Cabal on the left-hand side, the Vex to the top right. You can stay in this area for a little while and defend. You're going to see here that you can sit in this area and pretty much not have to worry about anything. It's very stress-free in here. If you can just throw some grenades, you're not going to have any problem. Just make sure that you are kind of just watching for anything out of the ordinary to pop up. If you have your sword, this is another good time to pull it out because, again, if it's void, it's going to be able to do a lot of damage quick, especially when things rush you. And as you can see, it's going to cut through things pretty quickly. So all we need to do is clean up this one guy here. Yeah, as you can see, this is starting to look really nice. We've got about 20 minutes. We're walking right into the final section. It appears. Yeah, that's the last Scion. If you have the sword, again, if you're keeping it out at this point, that's what I recommend. Just trying to take those down one-on-one. Shouldn't be that big of a problem here with either sword, really. So this final room, we're pretty much walking down easy street at this point, guys. You know, we've done pretty much everything we need to do. It's looking good. We have about 19 and a half minutes here, 19, and that's exactly where we want to be, especially for this last part. So I'd say so far, this has been a success. We want to just clear out these enemies. They're going to come from the top as well, so make sure to keep an eye out. As you can see on my left-hand side, they're starting to spawn. This is where those grenades are going to come in handy again. But as he comes up on us, it's no big deal. I'm just going to throw this out there. Oh. And a Nova Bomb. It's a nice way to clean up that whole area. Watching out for those shields. Okay, now we're in a good spot. Now guys, we have some big decisions to make. The main thing is which one do we want to take out first? I like to go to the Scion on the right, especially if I have the Void Sword in this situation. If you play your cards right, and you don't panic, you can almost take the entire thing of health down for that one Scion right off the bat. So now we're in a really good situation. At this point, what I would do is I would move back into this rear area of the map because a lot less enemies spawn over here and there's plenty of cover. We've got no panic. We can just keep moving forward. When they do come up, you can see, especially if you have a sword, you can clean them out quickly. Now you're going to see what not to do. Do not use the sword against the shielded guys. It's only going to give you problems, as you saw right there. Anytime it feels like you're getting too crazy, there's plenty of places to go here. Just make sure that you're always vigilant the whole time. And just try to keep yourself alive as best as you can. Stay ranged, and you should be okay. The only thing you're going to have to watch out for is periodically, you're going to have some enemies spawn from the back right of where we're at right now. Keep an eye out. Don't get too comfortable. Make sure that you're moving as often as you can. Even if it's from left to right, you're going to be in good shape. Now you're going to see what I'm going to do here is essentially use these grenades. Now there's one. You throw that down. You're lucky enough to get a kill right off the bat. They're going to spawn right back up. And you know what? At the end of the day, I think you just keep throwing them, or even one of these if you have it, you're always going to be in good shape. The goal at this point is to basically clear out as many ads as you can so that when you do go to attack each one of the 3 mini bosses, you basically don't have to deal with anything but them. And that's where your sword's going to come in handy. Now you can notice this red guy, he's made a critical mistake, and I'm going to exploit that mistake right now. He's in the corner, and he's going to probably die. In fact, there he goes. Now, once those two signs have been down, you're going to probably notice that a lot of other things have just spawned in. It's okay. It's okay. What you're going to want to do is just kind of get back to that back area again as quick as possible. Don't worry about trying to kill anything. More so just try to worry about regrouping and getting back to here so you can kind of replan your strategy and look for where everything's at and where it's coming at you. You'll notice you can go to this room on the left if you need immediate cover. So again, it's working out just fine. If you keep hitting that spot, as we've shown before, you're always going to be able to kill that Cabal. So you can kind of neutralize the shield. But, ooh. See, now for a second there, I even was wondering what I was doing. You know, I asked myself, Siege, what's going on here? Are we making the right decision? And you know what he said? He said, yeah, just watch me for a second. And you know what? I like where it's headed right now. There's a good plan we got going on here. We've got plenty of cover to work with, even from these Centurions that are shooting. You can see we can always duck behind this. We've got cover to our right. This is where you want to be at this stage. There's no reason to panic. We're at the 15-minute mark, so even if we are going for the sunrise bounty for that icebreaker, we're going to be in fine shape. Best thing to do is not push anything at this point. Just keep it nice and easy, nice and easy. There's nothing going on, but what we're doing here, we're just shooting some Cabal. It's not a big deal. We're going to throw some grenades. We're going to keep that super and have it ready. As long as we can clear out, I'd say 75 to 80% of what's down there, we should be just fine to be able to attack one of the bosses. Let's just put a grenade there as well, just for nostalgia's sake. I'd like to keep one around me. It's important to take out these Centurions. Is that the Colossus? That is what that is. It's important to take out the Colossus there. As many of those as that spawn, because as you can see, their rockets can kind of hurt from time to time. Not to mention they can really get in the way of a planned attack, if you will. There's your Nova Bomb. We've taken out a Centurion. We're pretty much to the end here. He is following us. As you can see, I could try to go in for the kill, but I'm not going to, and I'm going to explain to you why. I want to make sure that I'm at least healthy enough to be able to survive the shot, because I'm pretty much to the end here, guys. This is where it gets pretty much intense. We're at the last part. You can see I'm going to use my heavy synth, but the cost of this was that another round of ads spawned in. Again, we are not panicked at all. All we want to do is just basically sit back down here and hold the fort, if you will. That Flare's about half health, and he is the only thing that's standing between us and success. There's no reason to rush it with 13 minutes. So, I jump up here just to kind of get a view of the scene, if you will. Just to see what it looks like from that side. And here we are back to home base, if you will. This is what I'm going to call it. This is what we've established throughout most of the strike. And here we are back to just taking out those Colossus. Probably the most important thing. Because once we get those down, we can do our final attack, and we can end this strike the right way. You can see that cover. Just keep that cover as your friend. Throw a grenade down there. Maybe even throw a second one. Grenades can use friends. Everybody can use a friend, you know? Might as well send one down. Just keep hitting them. Oh, you gotta watch out of the way there. Just make sure it doesn't get too hot to handle or too cold to hold. Very important. You can see again, the grenades just keep showing their effectiveness. Should be something to look for whenever you're considering your character, I would think. But we've pretty much cleared out most of the map. We're gonna pull out the sword, and guys, I think we're gonna try to put the final touches on this masterpiece, if you will. He looks kind of lonely, so let's just see how he feels about this sword. Yes, he did like it. He did like it. Or maybe he didn't. It's really up to your perspective. At the end of the day, though, I think we've put our signature on this particular Nightfall, yeah? You can do a little dance if you want at the end. But it's a good feeling. It makes you feel good. I'm very happy right now. Okay. That was really great, wasn't it? I had a really good time there. Did you make it through? I hope you did. But it's okay if it didn't turn out exactly how you wanted. The important thing is you gave it your best and probably tried something you maybe normally wouldn't have. Now, if you haven't done it yet, you can use this as a good way to prep for your own eventual try. Above all, though, I hope you had fun and enjoyed the video. And if you did, please feel free to like and share it. As always, click that subscribe button too for more Destiny and gaming content. I hope you all have a wonderful week out there, and happy nightfalling. At any rate, take care all. Bye.